Path Media. I was a minimum wage movie theater usher that made good and became a top earner in my network marketing company. Now, after 16 plus years in the profession, I'm finally teaching myself how to leverage the internet with online marketing and social media marketing to continue to grow and expand my business. My name is Ronnie Cruz, and this is Path of the Network Marketer.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about education. That's right, education. Now, I know that's a very broad topic, so we're going to talk specifically of self-directed education. Not going to touch on, the formal setting, the classroom setting, or the university education, those things. Self-directed education is what we're going to cover. And in fact, even that alone is very broad and a big topic that we're going to have to split it into 2 episodes, right? So today, part 1, we're going to talk about the different types of education that's available to you as an entrepreneur or just somebody that's curious to learn more about the specific things that you are interested in, right? Now, I want to talk about this for 2 reasons. Number one, I'm officially in the space, right? With the having completed and taught, and having taught and completed my first masterclass, the influencer masterclass, I'm officially an educator, right? And even though I kind of always was, right, in the network marketing space, I always taught and as a coach, as a mentor, as a speaker on the platform, I was very much an educator and a coach and a mentor. However, now that I'm doing it outside of my network marketing career as a separate profession, it's official, right? It's a whole nother business outside of it. So that's one reason I wanted to talk about it. And number 2, I just heard a recent episode of Jenna Kutcher's podcast, The Gold Diggers. Gold Diggers podcast, she actually just talked about education, and I felt really drawn to the topic because, again, it's very pertinent to where I am in my journey at this very moment. Now, the education that we can find or that we can have access to in a self-directed education, of course, it's important. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, you already know, and you're already on that journey. As entrepreneurs, as business people, or even, again, as somebody who is interested in a specific topic, education and self-directed education is really, I mean, for me, it's the way to go. And it's how I've learned the things that I've needed to learn to get to where I am, right? Like, again, I don't have an advanced degree, a master's or anything like that in marketing or in business or management or anything like that. Like, a lot of my education has been through self-directed outlets. Now, those self-directed educational outlets can also run the gamut of being, from free to paid education, right? And there's so many different options within that spectrum. I mean, from on the paid side, it can range from like anywhere, $10-$20 to a couple $1,000 to even, upwards of $1 million. I mean, I know some people that offer personal coaching for like $1 million a year, right? It's out there, and people, not only do people offer it, but people pay premium dollar for what they perceive as being of the same value, service of the same value. So let's start with free education. Now, the internet's full of it, right? Like you have so much education at your fingertips. We're talking about like YouTube is university. They have that joke, YouTube University. You can pretty much learn anything from YouTube. And of course, for me, podcasting has been a huge source of education. I prefer podcasting personally because I don't have to watch anything. I can consume the content, consume the information while I'm doing other things. Because I'm pretty busy and I'm very active. So that really helps. I'm not tied to necessarily watching a specific video. So podcasting, great place to get free education. And really, it's just a matter of doing searches. I mean, joining specific groups that are in alignment with your particular interest that you're looking to learn more about, whether it's in person or online, right? Clubs, groups, and things like that. Meetups, I think, are still a thing. I know it's post-pandemic, but people still, I think people are more and more wanting to meet up and connect in person. So lots of free education available out there. Now, one thing I have to kind of give you a warning on free education. Now, most of it is good. Some of it is exceptional and fantastic. There is some of it, though, however, it's not so good, right? It's not so good. So you got to be really discerning and careful with what you listen to, because some of the education that's not so good also is really education. Well, no, excuse me, marketing masked as education, right? You sign up for a free webinar or a free class, and the class ends up not, you don't really end up learning anything, because it's pretty much just a pitch for their paid offer, right? And I don't, that's okay. That's no judgment from my end. Like, if that's how you want to run business, and that's how these educators want to do things, that's totally fine. Like, I say this a lot on the show: put food on the table any way you want to put food on the table. It's really up to you. But for me, it's kind of a pet peeve, right? I invest my time, I give up my email to learn the thing that you said you were going to teach me, and all I get is, you pitching where I can get that information for a price. Not really cool. And I end up wasting time, right? I end up wasting time. So be mindful of that. There is some free education out there that's not really education, but it's really just a sales pitch, right? And you can't help it. Just be careful. Just be careful with then because marketers are so good that you're going to want to, it's going to make you want to spend your dollars on them. And if you haven't gotten value already, if they haven't proven themselves yet to you, then be careful. Be careful to swipe the credit card until you really know that they're provide what they're going to provide, and what you're purchasing is it aligns, right? It aligns. The value that you perceive aligns with the value that you receive. So just be careful of that. With exceptional educators, Jenna Kutcher is one of them, right? And she even talks about this on her show. She loves to give free value, right? Even on her free courses and her free classes, and even the live courses that she teaches. Yes, they're free, and yes, she does have an offer and something to sell at the end of those things. But that's not going to stop her from going ahead and giving a lot of value in that free course. And I'm the same way. I'm of the same philosophy. If you had participated and tuned into the Influencer Masterclass, I gave a tremendous amount of value that you can use, that you can, especially if you're really, really enterprising, you can take the information that I gave you for free and run with it, and really run with it. And Jenna, I love the way she puts it. She says, I give as much away as I can for free, because if I'm giving such a high value for free, then what more in the paid content, right? Like, that's the mindset. That's the mindset. If you come into my free class and it's really already at a high level, then obviously you're gonna see more value in the paid courses and the paid education that I put out there, right? So again, I bring this up because you just got to be careful. Again, the internet is awesome, but it's also, because it's relatively wide open to anybody putting stuff out there. You got to be a little bit cautious and about who you listen to, right? About who you listen to. Vet the process, or vet the individual, vet the educator. Again, free education is awesome. You can get a lot of free education out there. The next thing is, of course, moving into paid education, and you could start off at a lot of different levels. Books is a great kind of low level in terms of price, but you're getting a lot of value in books, right? Because authors spend a great deal of time and energy and put a lot of love and effort into their works. That's a permanent piece of work, and you can't really go back and edit it like you can a blog post or it's something like that, right? It's there for posterity. So a lot of care and effort gets put into a book, and you can get a book for anywhere from $15 to $30, right? A little bit more sometimes, but it's relatively affordable. And most of them are jam-packed with great education, right? Great education. And of course, the digital versions of these books are available, as well as the audio versions, right? So lots of great options at that kind of level. And some people will offer, a kind of an introductory course, at like $49 range, that $50 range, very, very affordable. Of course, that moves up into, the $100 range, multiple $100. Again, be careful when you sign up for these things. I've been pulled into, because of the free education that I kind of stumbled upon, which is really just marketing and a sales pitch. I've fallen into spending a lot of money over the years, and not that, yeah, I've regretted. Of course, it's been a learning experience, but the education that I got from the money that I spent was really not, it wasn't commiserate with what I was expecting, right? Because of all the hype and the pitch from the free course, right? From the free course. So be careful. Just make sure again that you've vetted the process along the way. As I've now when I purchase courses, it's usually from individuals that I've been following for a long time, individuals that already have a pretty solid reputation in the space of what I'm trying to learn. And it's stuff that I need that I haven't been able to find from free sources. Again, you can find a lot on free sources of education, but when you reach a point where you can't, it is time to start investing in your own growth and in your own education. I think it's really, really important. Don't look at it as a cost. Look at it as an investment. And then, of course, beyond like courses and trainings, there's live events. There's something to be said about live events. It's a little bit more of an investment because you got to travel sometimes, and then you got to talk about accommodations and food and all that stuff. But there's something to be said about live events, right? Not live events, excuse me, in-person events. There's a certain energy at these things, and there's a certain kind of vibration when you attend a really, really well put together event, and that can be very life changing, right? Like you have these significant emotional experiences at these events, and that can make a lasting imprint. So that more and more, I mean, over the last year and a half, 2 years, live events have really started to pick up again post-pandemic. So be on the lookout for that. I'm going to be definitely starting attending more events now that I feel more comfortable. I feel more comfortable operating in society post-pandemic. And then, of course, the last thing is, and this can run really, really at the premium price, is personal coaching. And just again, proceed cautiously. Who you hire and pay as a personal coach. Unfortunately, there's again a lot of people in the space that aren't necessarily, or that don't necessarily have your best interests at heart, and that don't necessarily aren't necessarily vetted, right? Like they might be really good marketers, but they might really be crappy personal coaches, right? Personal coaches. That's not to say that personal coaches need certain certifications and things like that. I mean, although that helps, right? That helps credibility. I know Tony Robbins has a certification school, and Brendon Burchard does as well. So you're generally going to get good service from anybody that has certification. However, the main thing is just get to know the individual first. Follow their free content. Purchase their lower cost programs and offerings before moving into personal coaching. I'm starting to think about it. I'm starting to think about it for me personally. I'm kind of at a place in my career where it might be time to get an expert and an outside perspective to look at my own processes. Right. And then after personal coaching, another iteration of that is just masterminds, right? Group masterminds that can run a premium dollar as well. It's just another form of education. Simple as that, and this is not like accountability groups. You can get accountability group anywhere. This is a collection of individuals that have paid to become be a part of the mastermind, and are participating and want to elevate the entire group, right? So everybody comes in not only at a high level of service, but also wanting to gain perspective from the other people. It's definitely kind of a team situation, right? Right. And a lot can happen. A lot of amazing things happen. Now, masterminds, there can be also informal masterminds if you happen to be connected with some, high level individuals, some high achievers and some peak performers. If they're willing to put just an informal mastermind together, you can get a lot out of that as well. So yeah, I mean, that's education. Again, I think the biggest message is just be careful before you dump a lot of money into your education, because number one, you can get a lot of it for free, and number two, you just got to be careful. You just got to be careful. So when you're ready to spend your money, spend it on lower ticket items first. Consume as much of the free education from that person or that individual before you step into spending money. Get into the lower prices things first, and then once you're really ready to kind of spend it on high ticket items, then do that. And I only say this, because again, I've made the mistake of spending thousands of dollars over my career in places that haven't necessarily panned out. Now I've spent thousands of dollars in places that have absolutely catapulted my career as well. So don't get me wrong; it hasn't been like I'm wasting money. But I say that because I want you to know that it's not easy, especially in this day and age where disposable income for most people isn't necessarily a thing anymore because of the economy. I want you to be careful, and I urge you to be careful. There's great stuff out there, but don't jump into just dumping your money, right? Dumping your money, thinking that it's going to get you results, right? It's really more of how you think than the information, and that's what we're going to talk about in the next episode. Now, for me, I am also offering paid courses. I mean, I think I talked about that in a few episodes ago with the coming attractions, right? Paid courses are coming. Personal coaching is officially available, and actually, it's going to be available and open until March 17th. So if you're interested in personal coaching from yours truly, hit me up on Instagram. Hit me up on Instagram. Send me a DM. It's at the Ronnie Cruz. I'll leave a link in the show notes of this episode, as well as to the episode of Jenna Kutcher. But if you're ready, because my courses aren't ready yet, my paid courses, I've gone ahead and made my personal coaching available. Anything from marketing to mindset is what we can work on, right? It's what we can work on. So again, if you're curious to learn more about my personal coaching and becoming a client of mine, hit me up at the Ronnie Cruz, or the Ronnie Cruz, depending on how you pronounce it, on Instagram. It's the quickest way to get in touch with me. And then beyond that, wait till part 2. We're going to talk about part 2 of education. So until then, be well, be safe. We'll see you in the next episode.